Let's be honest, the majority of Fallout players usually are going around with big loud guns causing absolute chaos. But in this video, I plan to take stealth to the limit and find out, can you beat Fallout 4 as a stealth sniper? The rules of this challenge are, I can only use scoped bolt-action rifles, so laser and plasma rifles are not allowed. And I can only be allowed to deal damage while in the hidden or caution state. Once I enter the danger state, I have to run, hide, and change positions till I'm back in the caution state before fighting again. Making my character, I give him an appearance that shows combat experience and military trauma, and naming myself Sneaky McPeaky. For my stats, I put 8 points to intelligence for XP, 8 points to agility for sneak perks, and 8 points into luck for critical perks. In Vault 111, I use the doors once again to separate myself from rad roaches, and making my way to the Walden Pond for a guaranteed hunting rifle spawn, I ran into Carla and she must have knew exactly what I was looking for because she hooked me up with the hunting rifle and some ammo. After that, I returned to her sanctuary, giving my rifle a full stock and scope, turning it into a sniper rifle and making it valid for the run. At the Museum of Freedom, I did my best to take out the raiders inside while making sure to remain in the caution. After clearing the raiders inside, I then went out and aggroed the Deathclaw against the raiders outside. After using enough sneak attacks, the Deathclaw went down without much trouble. Talking to Preston at Sanctuary, he mentioned a settlement that needed help dealing with a problem discreetly, and, given my profession, I seemed perfect for the job. On my way to the settlement, I got a little distracted like I always do, and helped Tom with his water pump. Closing the valves and turning on the pump, I had to take care of a couple upset Mirelurks. Finally arriving at the settlement, they told me the location of the raiders causing problems, and, taking care of the raiders, in my path, I took out Jared without the raiders even having a clue who broke in and took out the leader. I returned to Preston and he warned me of yet another settlement that needed my expertise. On my way there, I took out a dog that never seen it coming and learned the location of the raiders causing problems. To my treat though, I arrived inside for story time. I guess the other raider will never know how the story ends. I took out the raider leader with careful shot to the dome and also took out the Diamond City guard because I wanted better armor. To pass the time while the other guards forget about my transgression against one of the guards' face, I went to the hardware store to take out the raiders out back and make some green paint to sell to Abbott at the Diamond City wall. Returning to Preston, I got to see a bear fight a horde of dogs. It did how you expect it to. It was here I realized just how broken stealth is in Fallout. I always knew stealth was a bit much in Fallout, but trust me, the stealth only gets stronger later in the video. After taking out Dino in one shot, freeing Nick, and dealing with the Skinny Malone and his crew, I showed the evidence to Dogmeat to track down Kellogg, but in classic fashion, I got distracted again. I installed a mod to make this whole stealth sniper thing a little more immersive. It's mostly cosmetic though, it doesn't make the challenge easier in any way, shape, or form, so don't worry. I don't know what I have against this specific raider though, I just woke up one day and hated his existence. No longer distracted, having fun with the mod, I continued following Dogmeat and saw two Deathclaws having a verbal argument. I think these Deathclaws are supposed to be fighting each other, but just my luck I had to take out both. I eventually arrived at Fort Hagen and took out the synths inside one sneak shot at a time. Finally meeting Kellogg, I was just barely short on one-shotting him, but only a minor inconvenience, cause I just repositioned and shot him in the back of his shiny bald head. I almost forgot to mention, while I was there, I also got the turbo pump for a side quest I was doing while I was getting distracted that I'll get into later. I reported the situation at Fort Hagen to Nick, and on my way to finish the side quest I mentioned earlier, I whisked into the universe above by a rocket launcher. Eventually arriving at the USS Constitution ship, I spoke with Ironsides and helped defend the ship one last time. While defending the inside, I accidentally took a sentry turret out and turned the crew against me. Reloading a save, decided to defend outside to avoid causing any further unnecessary damages, spoke with Ironside once more, and sent them on their merry way into a building just across the way. I traveled through Memory Lane and made my way through the glowing sea. I died to a rat scorpion, but eventually arrived to Virgil's cave. At Green Tech, I took care of the gunners with my overpowered sneak attacks. Unfortunately, I was found, and just my luck, I was found by the gunner holding a rocket launcher. Next attempt, I make sure to take out that guy as soon as possible. and continued to sneak attack more gunners in my path till finally running into the courser. First attempt though, I got into a sliver of health before he one-shotted me. Next attempt, I got 2 sneak attacks in, which still wasn't enough, and used a stealth boy to get the final shot in. I meet up with the railroad to decode the courser chip. Trying to return to Virgil, I once again was killed by another rat scorpion. I gave Virgil the codes and returned to the railroad since I'll be signing with them. It only makes sense to, since they are a faction of stealth and undercover missions. Trying to complete the main quest for the railroad, Deacon bugged out and for whatever reason, the game wouldn't let me talk to him to continue the quest. I did end up seeing a gunner with a better ghillie suit than what I currently had, and I took him out for it. Eventually, Deacon finally was ready to talk to me and started taking out some of the synths inside the railroad safe house. Making sure to stay hidden and collect the operations manual to increase my sneaking. Taking care of the final synth in the way, I grabbed the prototype, reported back to Dez, officially joining the railroad, and giving myself the perfect code name, Bullseye. Now an official member of the railroad, I made the teleporter and made my way to the Institute. I spoke to Patriot about freeing some synths, and having to work with the Institute to gather more information for the railroad, I spoke to Father and had to deal with the road synths in Libertalia. I took out all the raiders from a safe distance and made sure to take out the raider with the Fat Man. Using the recall code against the synth, I fell back and hid, but what I didn't expect was the courser to run and hide as well. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, he dipped the hell out, leaving me to deal with them all alone. I take out the last raider and I reported my success to Father, and next was the attack of Bunker Hill. Before that though, I had to travel inside Cameron's lab to retrieve a password. I used the turrets to thin out the ghouls inside, saving ammunition. But with the password within reach, I got surprised by a ghoul and he kamikazed me with a cryo mine that happened to be right next to me. Next attempt, I make sure he is dealt with swiftly and I warn Des about Bunker Hill. She then tells me to take out the courser, and I did so in a lovely cinematic shot. I met up with Z1 and he had me deal with some of the synth guards down below. At one point, I was hiding in the elevator and a guard walked in and I happened to go up the elevator just in time for him to forget I ever existed. After taking out the final guard, I told Z1 the place was cleared and told Father about the failed attack at Bunker Hill. I attended the most boring staff meeting and it was finally time to head to Mass Fusion. I used my insanely broken stealth to sneak past the Brotherhood soldiers and used the buggiest elevator I've ever seen. Riding the elevator down, I just remained hidden, sneaking past the soldiers to turn on the power and retrieve the agitator. First attempt, I briefly cheated, being curious if I could actually still shoot the sentry bot through the wall. Long story short, yes. Yes, you can. Second attempt, I used VAST to shoot the sentry bot's exposed fusion cores and crippled both my arms doing so. Dealing with the Assaultrons, I just used sneaks and criticals to take them out. After releasing the lockdown, I reported back to Father. I was sent to convince the Minutemen to stand down and convince Commonwealth scientists to help the Institute. I made a peaceful speech to the Commonwealth, fixed up the Diamond City radio, and then it was time to sit through another speech, but this time it was Father's. And wouldn't you know it, another staff meeting. I was then given the order to take out Dez, who was also one of the Brotherhood that was about to attack the old church. I made it in time to warn Dez about the Brotherhood, and after dealing with the soldiers inside HQ, I got to watch Glory slowly die. After dealing with the rest of the remaining Brotherhood soldiers, it was time to bring the fight to the Brotherhood. Slowly taking out the soldiers outside the police station with my silenced 50 cal rifle, and dealing with the soldiers inside, we had control of the vertibird. Soon after, a vertibird with reinforcements arrived, and using the buildings to hide from it while in danger state, I made sure to take out the gunner first, and I can only hope his death was instant, cause if it wasn't, I can promise you he had a very painful way down. Yep, definitely painful. After finally taking out the vertibird, I went inside to take out the last couple soldiers to find out they apparently don't follow the laws of reality and somehow become one with the walls.
He's in the walls. He's in the goddamn wall!
Having to reload a save and finally taking out the reinforcements, I entered the vertibird to then watch Deacon struggle for God knows how long to enter the vertibird with the rest of us. Good job, Bethesda. On the way towards the Prinwent, I put on a Brotherhood uniform to blend in. After passing a couple speech checks from Quinlan and Kells aims to get past the guard up top. I then placed the explosives and escaped without anyone noticing they were already dead, and they got to watch an entertaining fireworks show. I report back to Des, and it was now time to bring the fight to the Institute. I started off taking out the guards and workers near the relay, and I used the relay to teleport the railroad into the Institute. I watched the courser get jumped by a mob, and I surely didn't help. Then I saved Liam from the can of whooping he was about to receive. I talked with Father and then put him to sleep with a 50 caliber bullet. I helped clear the reactor, and being extremely careful when dealing with the synth with a quad launcher, I placed a charge in the reactor, destroying the Institute, and completing the game as a stealth sniper. This will be the end of the challenge video. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you guys have any ideas for a challenge in the future, leave them in the comments. I try to upload every week or every other week, and I hope to see you all in the next video.